What's going on, everybody? Jason K here. Just got done with a home inspection in San Bernardino. Super nice house, super excited for my clients. I wanted to talk to you about a question that we always get asked, and that's how much do I need when buying a home for a down payment? How much money do I need for a down payment when buying a home? Sorry. It's something that comes up all the time. You know, people are always curious on how much. Hold on one second. Let me add in. Hopefully. What's up, Justin? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. All right, so I was just telling everybody that we always get asked how much people need to put down for when they're buying. And I know there's tons of different programs, there's different kinds of loans. So I just wanted to ask you, what's the least amount someone needs when buying a home to put down?
The least amount needed, let's say if you're using the down payment assistance programs that we have available, then you're probably looking about maybe $2,000 to $2,500 out of pocket.
That's crazy. That's not that much at all.
Right. It's a great program. They have decent interest rates. The minimum credit score required is 640. Sometimes they think they need 700, 800 to get down payment assistance. That's not the case. Now, if you're not going down payment assistance, then the minimum required, let's say for an FHA loan, would be 3.5% of sales price. And then conventional even has a program where you can do 3% for first-time home buyers. So, and a lot of misconception is that they think they have to come up with a down payment and closing costs, which is not the case. As long as you have the down payment, that's all you really need.
Got it. So if they're doing, so what's the difference between the FHA and conventional? Say somebody qualifies for either one. What are their advantages of going one or the other?
FHA is leaning towards more of the individuals that have a little bit more debt than most, because it allows the qualification to be a little bit higher. FHA is a lot more lenient on the credit score as well, as far as credit, and if you have any derogatory accounts or maybe some late payments in the past. Whereas conventional, they're going to be a little more strict on the credit, and they want to see less late payments. Between them, there's mortgage insurance on both. FHA requires mortgage insurance for the life of the loan, and conventional only requires until you have 20% equity or 80% loan to value.
Okay, so if you were doing the conventional and you had, you know, the 3% down or the 5%, 10%, 15%, does the insurance get less the more you put down, or does it stay the same no matter what?
FHA mortgage insurance stays the same.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what credit score you have, the mortgage insurance is going to be 0.85% of the loan amount, unless you come in with 5%, but then it just drops down to 0.80, so not much difference.
Got it.
Whereas conventional, it's risk-based. They look deeply into what your down payment is and what your credit score is. Ideally for a conventional, if you have a 700 credit score on a conventional loan and you're doing a minimum 5% down, your monthly mortgage insurance premium will be less than FHA's monthly mortgage insurance premium. And then conventional doesn't have upfront mortgage insurance, but FHA does.
Got it. And I also get asked all the time, some people, they have the 20%, but maybe they don't want to put it down. Is there benefits to not putting down, keeping money in your pocket, or do you suggest going 20%, or is it kind of just case by case?
I would say it's case by case. I do sometimes recommend my clients to, if they're coming in with the bare minimum, with the 20% down, to have no mortgage insurance, the interest rate actually is the same if we were to do 5% down. So what we've done in the past is actually have them go 19% down and do what's called a single premium buyout of the mortgage insurance. So they do 19% down. If they were to keep the mortgage insurance, it's going to be $50 a month, or they just buy it out for $1,500 as opposed to having to come in with the full 20% down. So
Got it.
it's a case by case, and there's our options if we were to go that route.
All right. Now, a lot of times people ask, again, these are just questions that I get all the time when people are talking about buying. Um, Credit scores. So I know obviously the higher the credit score, the better, but what's the lowest score that you've been able to work with and get someone qualified or work with them towards getting qualified?
Well, the minimums for FHA would be 580. That's a special program, so they have different qualifications. Otherwise, the bare minimum for FHA and conventional, no special programs, would be 620. Ideally, for FHA, for some decent interest rates, you want at least a 640. And then for conventional, you want at least a 680. The lowest I worked with would be a 622, and that was on an FHA transaction.
And then so that they were qualified at 620, so you didn't have to do anything, you didn't have to wait or anything like that.
No, they were qualified, yeah. The great thing with us is that we do handle mild credit repair. So if let's say you were at that 620, and it works in 20-point brackets. So it'll be from 620 to 640, 640 to 660, and so on. So let's say, as I mentioned, for FHA financing, 640 would be more ideal. So, and they have a couple of credit cards, maybe one or two of them are maxed out. We can actually tell them strategically what to pay those credit cards down to in order to bump up that FICO of 625 above 640 and get it done within 3 to 5 business days. So now, and it may have cost, it can be a credit card that has a limit of $900. So you had to pay it down to 450. So $400, you had to pay down your credit card, which you had to pay the card anyways, to get your score up to 640. And now you have a better interest rate, saving you money over the 30 years, saving you thousands of dollars.
All right, so say someone has like a 550 credit score and
Mhm.
they're starting the thought of wanting to buy. How much time do they need typically to work on their credit and get it to where they can purchase? I mean, is that something that is a quick turnaround? And I know again it's case by case. Some credit is affected in different ways, but just say a standard
Yeah.
case of they have 550 and they're looking to purchase sometime soon.
Mhm. Definitely case by case, like you mentioned. It would be really contingent upon on what the credit looks like. And for example, let's say you just have maxed out credit cards. Then it's just if you have the funds available to pay down those credit cards, then getting the credit up to being qualifying should take no more than a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Now let's say it's actually derogatory credit that's really hurting you, such as collections or multiple recent late payments. Then that's going to take a little bit longer and probably looking about 60 to 90 days out.
Okay. And that's all stuff you can advise on when they contact you?
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. Any questions that you come across all the time that we can shed some light on?
Um, I think the most common questions I get are a lot of people are confused as far as what the minimum downs are, which we just touched on. Something that they have to come with 10% or 20%. That's just not the case. Um, I can't touch on that more. That it's only required, it's very minimum, 3.5, 5%, 3%. You don't need the 20 or the 15. You can go conventional, do the 3%, pay the mortgage insurance for 5 years, and it falls off by itself. Um, you never had to come in with that 20% down. Um, that would really be the only thing I would want to touch on. Other than that, not
What about what
too
about
much.
VA? We didn't talk about VA because I know that one. I've had a couple instances where people are scared of the VA, and I think VA offers are great. I think the loan programs are great. Can we touch on that a little bit? What's required? I know some people think
Mhm.
that they can't pay closing costs, but I know some you can. So can we just shed some light on VA offers and what those mean?
Yeah, definitely. A VA, in my opinion, is probably the best loan program out there. You can buy a house with zero down and not have any mortgage insurance with that loan, and their interest rates are better than all the programs out there as well. For those, so zero down, they do have closing costs that they don't allow the veteran to pay for, which we refer to as the non-allowables. Those we can assist with a lender credit on our end, or you can be assisted with a seller credit as well.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, VA, I mean, there's crazy enough, VA doesn't have a minimum FICO requirement.
At all? There's
Um,
no FICO?
there's no minimum FICO requirement.
Wow.
But of course, it's still going to determine what your interest rate is.
Got it. Is it
So
still
yeah, we always, the same
20
thing is,
point increments on VA, or is it different?
yes, still 20-point increments.
Got it.
So ideally, it falls in the same lines as FHA. Although they have better interest rates than FHA, you still want at least a mid FICO of 640 on VA, and you can get some decent interest rates. Anything below that, they're gonna just steadily increase if you go below 640.
Got it. Let's see. What if you did? Okay, we have a question. What if you did
Okay.
bankruptcy and your credit is 600? How long should you wait?
Depending on the bankruptcy, there's a couple out there. The most common is Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. The usual seasoning guidelines for FHA is 2 years, whereas conventional is 4 years.
What about VA?
If you have 600, depending on where you are in the 600s, will kind of determine if you're qualifying or not.
And what about VA? Did we say if you're doing VA?
Same. All of them, all two
Oh, got
years.
it. Okay.
2 years minimum. Yeah.
Got
So FHA and VA, whether you did a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13, it's 2 years. Conventional, Chapter 13 is going to be 2, but Chapter 7 is 4.
Got it. I hope that answers your question, Evelyn. Any more questions, let us know. I appreciate your time, Justin. Hopefully we'll be doing more
Yeah,
of
of
these
course, anytime.
videos and kind of answering questions that we usually get. So let us know. Can you give out your information, Justin?
Yeah, definitely. You can, if you have any questions or concerns, you can find me on Facebook. My direct line is area code 951-640-0635. We're a local branch here located in Brea, California.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. My name's Jason. My number is 949-291-8066. We'd both love to help you. Join us soon for more of these videos. Thanks again. Take care.